Hey, it's that time again. You know, that time for the show.
It's a brand new day. Time to get up. Don't snooze away. Hit the road. Yeah, we're on our way. Ask a traffic cop, show what you gotta say. Got your questions? I got the flow. Traffic safety's what we all gotta know. Buckle up. Green light. Let's go. Shots here, rock the traffic show. Welcome to the Monday morning traffic jam. Ask a traffic cop, I'm your number one fan. We'll keep you safe, we'll lend a helping hand. Time to tune in, let's start the show. Understand? Ooh.
Hey, okay, that worked. I thought I'd get over it. That title was over it, but alas, they didn't work until the video stopped. Welcome to the Monday show of Ask a Traffic Cop. I'm really excited. You know what I'm excited about? I'm excited about that. That is the new look that will be starting, I hope, tomorrow, where we go multi-camera in a round table style. We're upping the production value again, because making it better for you is exactly why we are here. Let's see here. If you are watching, it's probably on one of those platforms right there, because we're currently broadcasting on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and of course, X, formerly known as Twitter. Always going to be known as Twitter, I think. And when we are finished with the show, we upload the podcast version, which is really just the show recorded and then uploaded to different podcast platforms. So you can listen while you drive without breaking the law. Yeah, it's not live, it's replay, but replay still helps get you the information. And you know what? You got to focus on driving. You don't want to burn your data. So use your favorite podcasting app like Apple Podcasts, iHeart Podcasts, or Spotify, where you can watch video or just the audio version. In any case, however you choose to share your time with us, we appreciate you and would love for you to like, subscribe, share, tell your friends about us. That's how we get known. That little intro, yes, that little intro of music was created on Suno.ai. I think they have a new .com. I think they got the new domain now. Anyway, it's totally AI generated. I punched in a couple of characters. It created that song. I thought it was fun. I share a new one every day. At least I try to. And what else can we do? You can get to us on all those platforms by going to TrafficCop.ca. That is how you get a hold of me. You can ask questions. You can choose to follow us everywhere. And where and why do you follow us? Well, because we answer your traffic and police questions. That is our sole, well, it's not the only reason we're here, but it is a major reason for being here. We want to help you know stuff before you do stuff so you don't get charged with stuff for doing the wrong stuff. Because traffic law is confusing. There's a lot to unpack, and people interpret it differently. So here you get to find out how we, the police, interpret the traffic law and employ it on drivers, pedestrians, cyclists, and everyone who uses the shared space called the road, the highway, the place we use, or the thing we use to get to places. Now, I'm going to talk to you very quickly about Vision Zero Enforcement Team. They're a group of dedicated officers who work diligently to drive change. Yeah, see, I flubbed, but it worked. They issue tickets with the goal of changing driver behavior. Yeah, tickets aren't fun. Nobody likes them. And that's why we give them out. See, if getting caught was fun, people would just break the law to get caught, and that's silly. So we want to catch people, give them that what is it called when you we're going to change your behavior because you're going to get reminded that what you did was wrong, and it comes with some tickets which cost money and possibly points. Could make your insurance go up, could take your license away, depending. And anyway, consequences are a thing. What do we focus on? We focus on the big four. We're talking about those who speed, those who drive aggressively, those who drive distracted, and of course those who drive impaired. We know that those particular driver behaviors, which are choices, by the way, well, they lead to serious injury and death on our roads, and they are totally unacceptable. See, Vision Zero, which I was just talking about before this live stream began, it has a goal of zero people getting hurt or killed on our roads. It's pretty important. We acknowledge that minor fender benders are going to happen. It's just inevitable. Minor stuff happens. But the ones that lead to serious injury and death are totally preventable and totally unacceptable. So follow the rules. You'll never meet one of our officers, and That's the great way. Unless, of course, we're coming to help you because somebody else broke the rules and caused a collision. Now, today we are in 31 Division and 42 Division. Those are the neighborhoods like Black Creek, Humbermead, Downsview, Humber Summit, Malvern, Agincourt, Milliken Rouge, Scarborough. You know, places where real people live, work, and play, deserve to be safe, all that jazz. Let's see here. We have folks in the chat already. They were there before the live went live. Is it happy? We have a message of good morning, happy Earth Day. I didn't even realize that today was that day. So thank you for the reminder. Happy Earth Day. Is that when we turn out the lights? Is that are we going to be doing that? I don't know. Either way, I like the Earth. The Earth has been good to me so far. I'll support it. Cheryl P says good morning. Paul says good morning, Sean. Thank you for your service. You do make a difference. Thank you very much. I try. I am part of the Vision Zero family in that my education, the education I try and deliver each and every day is to try and make people safer on the roads, to save lives. Even though I can't go out on the road to do it anymore, I still value what we do here, and I appreciate your appreciation. So let's go. Let's move on. We're twofer. Morning. Stephen Bell says good morning, Sean. Tianla says good morning, everyone. And we've got questions. We're going right into the questions. So let me flag a couple of these. And just ask questions once, please. And please don't spam. Spam is in a can. And I've never actually eaten spam, but this was given to me by Akela, who I've not seen in the chat yet, but I'm sure he is here somewhere. Let's see here. I can't read this name. It's the font they've chosen is itty bitty. So I'm going to make a wish, then make it happen. Keep shining. I love that advice. Great advice. Thank you. Emma says good morning. Big Jeff Fresh says good morning. Let's see here. We've got boom, boom, boom. What is this? There must be more lenient towards parents picking up kids from school when there's not enough leniency. It said lenient seed, and it really threw me for a curve. But you know, at the end of the day, illegal parking is illegal parking. While we appreciate you need to pick up your kids from school, you got to be thinking about everybody else on the road to ensure that everyone's safe and that we're not blocking traffic from people who have to get through, which is also a thing. Toronto road cams. Good morning. Says saw a Vision Zero car in a park lawn recently. We have Vision Zero cars all over the place. They do Vision Zero-y stuff. Now, let's see here. We got Twofer was a 41 Division Yippee, which we'll talk about. Sorry, correction, 42. Yippee, the Youth in Policing Initiative, great program where young persons can work, get paid to get to know about the police, get to do jobs within the police service. You're not in uniform. You're not working in the front lines. You're getting some back-end support. And historically, Yippies have had opportunities to become police officers and work within the service in other areas. So it's a great way to get involved and learn about us and everything we do while contributing to the betterment of your city. Harmighty says, hello from Cambridge. Hello, Harmighty. Let's see here. Preet wants to know if I go to employment information sessions to share my experiences. I've never been asked, but I kind of do that every single day on this live stream. So happy to talk about employment. About 15 minutes, we will talk about employment. I always do that around halfway through the show, where we talk about careers and what's going on. And do I want it to be a secret? No, sorry. Do I want to share in the surprise, or do I look now to see how many civilian roles? I pressed the button. I'm just curious. I can't wait. There are currently 9 open jobs within the Toronto Police Service. Okay, we'll come back to that in about 15 minutes. Let's see here. We got a question from Twofer. Actually, I'm totally I've gone out of my routine. I started flagging things at the top, and I jumped out and just started talking to Twofer here. So they were biking on the road, and cars were going 20 over the limit. A cop pulled beside me and told me to go on the sidewalk for my safety. Am I breaking the law? There is a bylaw in the city of Toronto that says you can't be on the sidewalk. So that instruction was in violation. They were telling you to violate the bylaw. You could have been ticketed by another officer who saw you. I mean, I'd want to know their name and badge number for your notes, so you could say, no, Officer Bob 12345 told me to do it, and because you could potentially be charged. And we sidewalks are for pedestrians. We want to keep them safe. They have nowhere else to go. And when you put a cyclist on there, you do put them in danger. Other municipalities may not have the same rules as the city of Toronto does, so it depends on where you are. But obviously there must have been an issue there, like you were saying, 20 over, which is an issue everywhere. We have people who are speeding all over the place. I can see where people are concerned. Rio says, hi from UK. Well, they said from UK, but still, I know what you meant. Hello, I was just in the UK last year in May. I was all over the place. Let's see here. We got people who don't understand advice. We'll come back to that in a second. I want to go back to the beginning where I flagged the question from AJ Too Neat. Do police know if you have insurance when they run your plates? Sorta, but no. We know, but not real time. We can see whether or not it was verified when the verification process happened, verified or unverified, but it may not be today. So we still check your insurance when we pull you over to verify today that you have proof of that insurance, which you're required to carry, even if we can see other information. And I should clarify, we see verified or unverified. We don't see name of insurance provider. We don't see policy information. So that's not enough information to satisfy the requirements of the Highway Traffic Act. So would you be charged $65 for not surrendering your insurance proof? Yes, you would. And could you be investigated subsequent to that, a call to your insurance company who says you don't have an active policy? Yeah, we have 3 years to lay the charge about drive no insurance. So even if you provide proof of at the side of the road and we do a further investigation to find out you don't in fact have insurance, then there's more charges that come from that. So I think it's a great conversation starter. Insurance is a big deal. $5,000 to $25,000 fine for driving a vehicle on the road with no insurance, a motor vehicle, and up to 6 months in jail, which really tends to blow people's minds. Okay, let's see here. So this is what I was talking about earlier. Mark Hillman 27 says, leave the keys by the door and a cup of hot cocoa. Hot cocoa is optional, but the advice that was given by police and was very good advice. Now, the advice is not theft reduction advice. It's harm reduction advice. And I think you have to, draw a line and understand what is what. That is not advice to prevent car theft. That is advice to prevent you from having yourself or your family pulled out of bed in the middle of the night at the hands of armed burglars who want your car. Let them have their car. If they're willing to go to that length, you don't want to be victimized. That's ultimately reduce harm. When it comes to reducing car theft, there's a ton of different things you can do, starting which, Faraday bags and proper lighting, video, the club or an equivalent device that prevents, it's a steering wheel lock, brake lock, hidden kill switches, immobilizer devices, a ton of things you can do to make your vehicle less, what's the word I'm looking for, attractive to thugs and thieves. Yeah, so that's where you start. But in terms of leaving the keys by the door, that's harm reduction and really good advice. We got Nora Smith, who says, good morning from North Shore of Lake Superior. Is that warm or cold right now? Because it was not warm in Toronto this morning, and I'm thinking I need to go somewhere where it is warm, or we got to bring some. What happened to global warming again? Why is it cold? Because I don't get it. Anyway, good morning and thank you for the message. Wherever you're from, let us know, because I really do love to hear where everyone's coming in from. We have people watching from all over the world. We get letters and messages all the time from our international audience. We had, Germany and New Zealand, Australia, all the time, Ireland. We hear from everyone, and it's so nice to hear that we are an internationally watched program. And this is a program now. It's wild. Okay, Ryan Hegner, did I pronounce that correctly? On the interstate, at what speed would you 100% pull someone over for? So this is a thing. Every officer is going to be different. I've pulled people over for, my goal is always looking for people who are actively breaking the law that are going faster than the flow of traffic. And that's not to say if you're all going 25 kilometers over that you're safe. You're not. I'll pull you over for 25 as well. But I focused my efforts not on the highway. I focused my efforts in residential areas, in areas near schools. And at that point, 5 over, I probably wouldn't bat an eye. But if I was seeing you doing 10 to 15 over, you're getting pulled over and you're getting charged because you're not supposed to speed. It's against the law. 15 over in a 60 is 25% over the limit, which is well into the realm of you should know better. But you know what, 5K? 5K could be an issue with your speedometer. My speedometer is off by 2 kilometers. I come to that based on watching my GPS come up with an amount. So when I'm doing 100 on my speedo, I'm actually doing 98. My speedometer thinks I'm going faster than I am. But there are people who could have it, the other way around based on changes to their tire diameter. Anyway, moving on. What is this? Oh, people who don't like our prime minister. There's many of you. I appreciate your feelings. I don't get involved with discussing this politics stuff online, though. It's not for the show. We're a traffic show. Steve says, hi, Sean. Just saying hi. Love the video you shot out in the field. Thank you very much. I don't know which one I shot out in the field. Was there one I was just actually in the field? I've shot so many videos, but I have a lot of fun shooting videos all over the place, and most of it is inside. But I'm so glad and I've been enjoying your content too. Steve has a McLaren, a 300, Nissan. He's just a car guy with cool car tips and stuff. I hope to be outside a lot more this summer. I'm hoping we go back to the Honda Indy because that's fun. It's always a great opportunity to get out and meet folks. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. A says the potholes on the streets is alarming. Potholes no good. Know this though, if a pothole damages your vehicle, there is an avenue for getting that getting reimbursed. I've heard of people who have successfully submitted forms and applications to have their damage to vehicle recovered by way of applying to the city. And I'm sure Toronto's not the only one who does this. Let's see here. Why do bicycle laws still require reflectors in the wheel spokes? You can't buy them anymore. Does it say wheel spokes? It's forks. So you have to have reflectors to the front, to the back, a light to the front, to the back. Those are the requirements. I'm not aware of the spoke ones being required, but I can't imagine that you can't buy them. Like, really? Okay, a quick search on that app that is, a wrong letter there, okay. They deliver stuff. Let's see. Bicycle tire reflectors, maybe? How about so if your tire didn't work? Okay, reflector kit. Oh, I see them right here. You can get those tire, the ones that go in your spokes. I found them. They're plentiful. You can get a red one for the rear, a white one for the front, and amber ones for the tires. $17.90. MFC Pro. I mean, they're there. Oh, tons of kits. $10 for 4 wheel or spoke ones. They put bicycle wheel reflector as the title. Look at this. You can buy 1 for $10. You can buy 4 with a front and back reflector. So no, they're totally available. But I'm glad we had this conversation because I have not looked for this stuff in 100 years. Let's see. Oh, Simo's, I'm assuming it's Simo. I don't know any other way to pronounce that. My dad passed away in 2021, but worked for TPS in forensics. Thank you for his service and for your service, because I imagine growing up with a dad in the service meant that you sacrificed a lot because he was working a lot. So I thank you for your sacrifices too. People don't realize that when people work for the service, they miss all the fun stuff because they're working, and we don't get a choice as to when we work. We know when we have to show up. You might be on shift work on days off when all the fun stuff is not going on, and you have to be at work when all the fun stuff is actually going on. It's just a different life. But thanks for saying hey. Okay. PND416 says, can I do a U-turn anywhere as long as it's safe and there's no sign? Kind of, sort of. There's a number of places that are actually prohibited regardless of sign. Those particular locations are at a bridge, a viaduct, a tunnel, a railway crossing. You can't be there making a U-turn. Makes sense. Visibility issues. A curve in the roadway where there's no visibility around the curve, or what is it? It's an elevation, a ridge, a crest of grade. That's the what I'm looking for. Crest of grade where there is no or limited visibility. Those are places prohibited regardless. And of course, where there's a sign, you have to be 150 meters beyond that sign. But you can make a U-turn just about anywhere else. I will say this: you are responsible for whatever happens as a result of your U-turn. If you make a U-turn and it was safe when you started, but it wasn't safe when you finished, guess what? You did an unsafe thing, and you'd be held responsible. Sam David says, ask real question. You didn't ask a real question, Sam. Ask a real question. Take your own advice. Toronto Roadcam says, and happy Passover. Thank you. And for anyone who is going to be celebrating, tonight will be today's the first day of Passover. Tonight will be the first Seder, tomorrow the second. Oddly enough, in Israel, they have one Seder. In North America, we have two. That's about timing and stuff. In any case, I appreciate the wishes. Chag Sameach to all who celebrate. Okay, Emma is reminding everyone to put a Q in front of the questions for Sean to answer. The Q really does help me identify questions over banter amongst themselves. Okay. We got, what is this? Oh. A question requesting that we search Facebook Marketplace for all the stolen vehicles being sold. I'm hoping that that's not the case. I've heard of some stories where people are putting in messages like, if you know, you know. I imagine we are absolutely investigating all those things, because you got to be really, really a special kind of stupid to market yourself in the business of selling stolen. But, I love the clues. Clues are good. So for those people who make themselves easy to find, we like criminals that are that way inclined, the ones who make themselves easy to find so we can charge them. We're starting to sound like Dr. Zeus for a second there. Anyway, we've got, what do we have here? Time to take a sip of coffee is what we need. I had things just, this is for this is a great question. But before I get to that great question, I see another great question that needs to be identified first. Mark Hillman really has a good sense of humor. Okay. I have a Class 5 Alberta license. How long am I allowed to drive in Toronto not moving permanently? So if you're visiting, you can visit. I mean, that's you're visiting. If you're moving and you're staying here as a student, for instance, well, if you're a resident. Even if you're not permanently, you're planning on going back. But if you're a temporary resident, you have 30 days to change your license. I always get these confused. 30 days to change your license, 60 days to change your vehicle registration, temporary or not. But that's the story. You're a resident even if you're not on Ontario healthcare. Like, you're a resident because you're here. This is where you're living for a period of time. You're visiting, it's very different. You're not working, you're not attending school. That's visiting. You're touring, fun places like Ripley's Aquarium, and that's your focus. You're not a student, you're not a worker, you're a tourist. Okay, moving along. And I'm looking for this question. That's the this question I'm looking for. Can I cross the border with my G2? The border crossing component of it, whether it be passport or birth certificate or whatever they're accepting now for ground crossing, is one thing. Can you legally drive in the United States, and can you drive up into the border with a G2? Yes, you can. The G2 is a full license for the purposes of travel. There are conditions with it, and you must follow those conditions. You have to actually keep and maintain a 0 blood alcohol content. You can't have drugs or alcohol in your system. Hey, Sergeant Campbell's going to join us. And you cannot... what else is there for the you can't have more passengers than you have seatbelts. There's conditions from we got stuff. He didn't see the stuff yet. This is first introductions to stuff and things, chairs and tables or table. So yeah, you can go to the States with your G2, but you have to follow all the rules that you would have to follow here. G2 in the States.
And if you didn't, could they give you a ticket?
They can give you a ticket because they do what they want there.
Yep.
And the consequences, most places, are reciprocal. They will affect your license here.
Absolutely. So They have the ability to look up what conditions you're allowed or not allowed to do, but you also have to follow the rules while you're in their state or country. So not only do you have to make sure you're properly licensed, because if you're breaking conditions of your license, they may consider you unlicensed over there.
They can do it, and their laws are different. It's really important to know that their laws are different. In some places, you're arrested for 20 miles over the speed limit. Like their laws are their laws, and every state has a different law or group of laws, because they make, just like our provinces have different laws and different consequences. They do too. They go to jail a lot faster there. Like,
yeah,
I was looking, and I have somewhere in my box of goodies from my Florida trip a guide for officers for Florida state traffic laws. And it's amazing. I mean, impaired driving is a criminal offense on a bicycle in Florida.
Wow.
So, yeah. Okay. Should we call 911 for someone doing a high rate of speed or the non-emergent line? I don't know what a non-emergent line is.
The non-emergency line.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. I'm thinking driving. I'm glad you're here. If someone is driving at such a high rate of speed that you are concerned for the safety of the other people on the road, that is an emergency.
Yes, but to tie up resources, it should be something that's very, very dangerous, that you think will affect lives. Speeding alone depends on the rate of speed.
Depends on
traffic. Depends on the conditions. Depends on a whole bunch of things. Use common sense.
Sure.
We can't be everywhere all the time, but we try to be.
The reality is that someone who is simply speeding is likely not going to get caught in time. We're not going to get there in time to respond. Someone who is speeding and weaving and causing all sorts of other issues could be impaired, could be having a medical episode. That really is an emergency compared to someone who's going too fast. It might be best to simply record the license plate and put an online report in. As Sergeant Campbell says, really does depend.
Yep.
We said depends like 3 times in 5 minutes.
And we say that a lot on here, but really it does. There's the letter of the law, and then there's the common sense, and you have to approach both and use common sense when making decisions when you're driving, walking, bicycling, or calling the police.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, if there's no reasonable chance of us getting to them, they were a blur, you have nothing but I saw a car go fast, there's nothing to call us for. Really. Because you can't give us a descriptor. It could be a blur that went past you.
Well, until you come upon
the
big crash up there, and then that's a great time. I have called in out of, on my time off, I've called in impaired drivers and was willing to follow them until they were stopped. And that's what happened.
What's it show when you run plates? It's stuff and things.
Depends on who you are, what your vehicle is, and what else you got going on besides just the basic owner information, vehicle information.
But the basic thing is that it's going to have your registration information. So who owns it, the address it's registered to, and then it could be tied to other information. Like we can look at the driver's license history for the registered owner, but the driver may not be the owner. So right. It's the beginning. It's the starting point of an investigation.
Has the vehicle information, including the VIN number, the plate number, type of vehicle, color of vehicle, number of cylinders in the vehicle, all stuff we use to maybe compare to what we're seeing to see if it's correct or not. And then any history of the vehicle may come up. There's a separate system that it accesses called CPIC, which is the Canadian Police Information Center. Both driver and vehicle will be run through that system. If you're suspended, if you're on charges, if you're if it's a stolen vehicle, if the vehicle's been used in crimes, all that stuff most times shows up.
Yeah. There's the potential for, we do have access to different systems, but the whole concept of what did we just punch in a plate, it's fairly limited, and then the rest is optional based on how we're running the investigation.
Absolutely. I look at something and go, that causes me a little bit of concern, or something doesn't match here, and then I start checking further into it, and it may lead to a traffic stop, it may not.
People say, well, can't you see if the car is insured now? That's part of a further digging into things. It's not the first page that just comes up. So many people say, well, why do we have to carry insurance proof if you can see it online?
But we can't see it online.
It's not real time.
In real time. We don't know who your insurer is. We don't know if you've called and canceled. We don't know if you've limited your insurance to maybe not include liability for the road.
Could be
A lot of-
storage, theft, and fire.
A lot of people do that, especially springtime when they're bringing out their motorcycles and classic cars and stuff like that. They don't switch it over because it's cheaper just to leave the fire and theft on it.
I've charged people for that. Oddly enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, we've got someone who's having some identity crisis. They're using cartoon animals to describe themselves.
Well,
I'll find them later. All right, a whole bunch of people just popped in. By the way, a reminder, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service. We talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. This is Ask a Traffic Cop. We're traffic cops. And beside me, joining me, you weren't here for the original introduction, Sergeant Murray Campbell, who is more than just a traffic cop. You're a towing cop, too.
yeah, I have a bunch of portfolios that I oversee. Towing and impounding in the city of Toronto is one of them. We tow about 30,000 plus cars every year. That's a lot of cars to tow and impound. So lots of questions come about that. A lot of issues come up about that as well.
We got a question about driving with insurance, and I really do think that they meant driving without insurance.
What's the charge for driving with insurance?
That's what I'm saying.
Your insurance company is going to charge you, and if it's anything like mine, they're going to charge you a lot.
Yeah, it's funny how that works. Mine went up. I'm not impressed. And I reduced the coverage. Like I took my motorcycle off the policy after it sat for 5 years not moving. I finally said, you know what? Why am I wasting money on having my motorcycle insured? So I reduced the coverage to not include a motorcycle, and it's more money now.
I have a problem with mine.
Oh, yeah?
I do. I have too many toys,
That is a problem.
and they all have to be insured, and they all have to be paid for. So that is my issue. I have to pay for insurance. If you're not going to have insurance on your car and you do get caught, the fine is $5,000 to $25,000 for a first offense. Quite a
And
lot.
up to 6 months in jail.
Yeah, quite a lot compared to just paying for it.
Becca wants to know if there's a way to legally sleep it off in your car. Sleeping it off referring to being under the influence of drugs or alcohol, being impaired, and how to sleep it off, to wait until you're sober. And that's a very complicated question.
It is. If you're in your vehicle and have the ability, even if you're not in your vehicle, you're impaired and you have the ability to set it in motion, that's a criminal offense. So care and control is the old wording that was used. So can you sleep it off? No.
If that vehicle can be started, if you got the ability to start it, if it was a vehicle and there were no keys and no way of starting it, people say, well, couldn't that be? It gets complicated because how close are the keys? Where'd you put them?
Yeah. We know if your car got there, then somehow your car had the ability to be started and moved there. Now, there are different things where common sense would have to take precedence over. If you're at a campsite and you're in your motor home that has a motor vehicle engine attached to it, and you're set up and you're there around the campfire and you have the keys, but you're not going anywhere because you're in a campsite, that's a common sense thing.
But that is the one vehicle description that actually becomes a temporary domicile in those circumstances. There's a particular excusal for that vehicle, unless it's being driven.
Not the only one, though.
Oh, which other ones?
Boats as well.
Ah, yes. I'm thinking motor vehicles with tires.
Yeah, but it's still the same impaired for vessels, for aircraft, and for all vehicles, including snowmobiles, mopeds, motorcycles,
And there's
ATVs.
there's very strict condition when it comes to boats. You know, having a bathroom on board, having an anchored. Isn't there a distance from the shore as well?
No, there's not a distance from the shore, but it does have to be anchored for a period of time. You must have a head on board, and you must be sleeping in it, living in it.
There you go. RG wants to know if it's illegal to ride your bike on the sidewalk, which is one of those depends thing. If you're under the age of 14, it's perfectly legal. It used to be tire size, tire diameter,
Yep.
And that changed when everyone bought tiny tired bicycles so they could ride on the sidewalk. But it was intended for children's bicycles, and then now they just made it 13 years and below. So
Now,
under
that's in
14.
the city of Toronto.
Yes, bylaws.
Other municipalities may have other rules that you have to abide by.
And you have to do your homework to find out. So contacting your local municipality to find out what your rules are is a good place to start.
Is it safer for a cyclist to be on the sidewalk compared to weaving in and out of traffic? Yeah, probably.
Is it safer for pedestrians?
Is it
though?
safer for pedestrians? No, definitely not.
It
So-
it causes some problems for some people.
we have a shared responsibility, and everybody shares in that responsibility when using the roads and the sidewalks. So we have to make it safest for everybody in all set of circumstances, and that's why the bylaws are created that way.
Now, we had someone earlier on the show ask about applying for jobs with the police. They asked if we go to job fairs and talk about our experiences, and there are people who do that. It's not us who goes to those events, but we do talk about it on the show every single day whenever we're on the air. And if you go to www.tps.ca/careers, you get to this page. And this page, where we have all these smiling faces, is where you can get information about all different types of jobs within the Toronto Police Service: police constable, special constable, parking enforcement officer, communications operator. Officers from other jurisdictions are laterals. They're coming from another service but qualified there. Auxiliary officer is a volunteer position. That's how I started. And then my favorite button to press is the one that comes up with the civilian jobs that are currently posted on the service's website. 9 of them as of this morning. We've got benefit coordinator, senior writer, corporate communications, help desk analyst, manager of talent acquisitions, that's a big one, special constable, youth and policing after school fall program, that's the YIPPY program, youth and policing initiative, communications operator, intermediate technical analyst, and developer in the digital team. If you have somebody that qualifies for one of these positions, sounds like they might be interested, this is an opportunity to get hired by an amazing organization.
And especially if they're good people.
We're
looking for good people to join us and make our wonderful organization even better.
That's right. And you bring unique skills and abilities to add to our pool of knowledge. And very often people get hired in one area and then move to another area because once you're a member, you're a member. And there are internal opportunities. You know, I started as an auxiliary, then became a court officer, then became a police officer. You can do the same thing. So just because, let's say you want to become a police officer, but you're not ready to apply, maybe you could be a good parking enforcement officer for a couple of years while you prepare yourself for the challenge of becoming a police officer. So there is that. I do like talking about employment. How about police do their jobs, to serve and protect the communities? And I got to tell you, doppelganger, not my doppelganger, obviously, but we do that every single day in many, many different capacities. We have police officers who are out there educating. We do it online. We're also doing a lot of the back end stuff. There's different ways to serve and protect, and it's not as simple as responding to calls or driving around your community.
And you know what? Quite honestly, if you go back to the principles set out by Sir Robert Peel, the police are the community, and the community are the police as well. So we need your help to do it. We have the ability, we have the knowledge and the skills to do it, but we need your help when doing it as well. So don't throw it all at us. We need you to help as well.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because last week we put out a video saying, hey, there was a fail to remain collision. Someone was struck at the side of the road. They're being cared for in hospital now. We're looking for any information you can provide. And someone said, what do you expect us to do your job for you? Like, go find out who did it. Well, that's actually how we do it. We ask for the community to provide information because you have the keys to these cases. We're just making notes, really.
You know what? We can't be everywhere all the time. And if you were there, you have some knowledge or understanding. If you heard something, somebody talking about it, talking about a neighbor, talking about a family member, talking about a friend, you then have the knowledge. We don't have it quite yet. We'd like you to direct us where we can go do our job.
Now, a follow-up question from somebody else. This is Rooks, who says, good morning, sir. Question, how come there are not much police on the streets catching speeders? Well, again,
I wish there were more.
Oh, yes, I wish I was out there doing it. I happen to really like speed enforcement. Enforcement in general. I like catching people breaking the law and trying to change their behavior, making the road safer. But the truth is, there's busy times. We have only so many officers, and we have a lot of calls. The fact is, the average police officer starts their shift, turns on the computer, and there's a dozen or more calls waiting to be serviced from the moment they start their shift. And there's more than that when they're leaving. There's no extra time, and it's that extra time, other than being Visions or enforcement team, where they're dedicated only doing enforcement. They have to go to calls for service, and they're priority calls.
And I've done that. I like doing a lot of traffic enforcement, but I can only do it when I have a few minutes in between here and in between here, or I'm driving somewhere and see something happening right in front of me. So we do what we can with what we got with the time that's available to us, and I totally agree. There should be more.
I would like to see that. And I'd like to see automated enforcement leveraged to fill in the gaps, because I think a lot could be done to make roads safer by way of utilizing the automation. We already see it with speed and red light camera. I think we could see it on more streets, but that's just a me thing. I see the incredible misuse or abuse of laws every day on my drive in my personal vehicle, which frustrates me. Thus, I need to vent. Thank you for listening. What's your take on people who use the on-ramp lane that merges to the main highway to skip ahead? Now, I will say this. If you're using the on-ramp because you're actually getting on the highway, please don't be the person who uses the first 2 inches of that on-ramp to jump into traffic and then block the rest of that merge lane. Use the whole merge lane. It's there for a reason. Use the whole thing. Opportunities provide themselves to safely merge, but don't just stop in traffic. That really drives me crazy.
I think what they're talking about is the guy who pulls out, zips ahead, hammers on the brakes, and then slides in, causing everybody else to put on the brake, put on the brake, put on the brake, slowing the whole process down. If everybody could merge, doing the zipper merge, one car after another goes in, it's smooth, it's effortless, it's safe, it keeps traffic moving.
I had to get my 2 cents in about the first problem before getting onto their problem. And I agree. That person is a horrible person who needs to reevaluate their lives, because they suck. Now, they do. You pull out to get 10 car lengths ahead, and all you've done is tried to ruin everybody else's day. You've increased your chance of collision. You've really done nothing, but you feel good about yourself for 5 seconds.
You got 10 cars ahead. And then if I'm around, then
I pull you over.
I'm pulling you over. 100%.
Let's see here. We got Boy Mom, who says, good morning, Sean. Let's see here. Oh, interesting. Ken. Okay, so Ken, I believe Ken said earlier that his daughter is a mortician, and this is talking about speed limits and the reduction of speed limits in all sorts of places. And you're bang on at 30 kilometers an hour. Hitting a pedestrian will likely result in a survivable collision, as opposed to 50 or higher, where the rates change dramatically.
Absolutely, it's a law of physics. That energy that is built up in your car as you're moving it, it takes more energy to get your car up to speed, and that energy has to dissipate somehow when you collide into something. And that energy gets transferred into pedestrians, causing more injury, causing more death.
The fact is, the comments section on a video I recently posted with the Traffic Accident Commission out of Queensland. The number of people who got in there and said, speed doesn't kill, 5 kilometers doesn't make a difference. Like all these people, oh, that was a 2007 car. I got a 2024. Mine will brake appropriately. Physics is a constant, like, at least for the most part, is a constant. And they really have no idea what they're talking about. Yes, a newer car may have the stopping ability to stop faster than an older car. But if you take 2 identical cars, the faster one will always take longer to stop than the slower one. And therein lies the rub.
And you know what? It's usually driver error that causes it in the first place. So if that were to be true, how come we have 0 collisions right now?
Well, that's the thing.
How come there are still people dying on the roads?
If all the people who say we want faster speed limits, I would say as soon as we get down to 0 deaths, I would be all in for that, because we need to eliminate all the issues that are causing those deaths before we give you any more kilometers.
Yeah.
An hour anyway.
And we actually the province in Ontario has increased in certain areas, increased the speed limit on our major throughways.
In some areas where it was deemed safe.
And is it helping? Is it hindering? Is there more collisions? They will have the data to let us know.
Evandro is watching, and another congratulations to Evandro, who is a recent addition. He graduated in class 37 of the Auxiliary Police Service the Peel Regional Police Services Auxiliary Program. So Evandro is now an auxiliary officer.
Welcome.
Yes, part of the extended policing family now. I say extended because he didn't come to Toronto. He went to Peel, which is a wonderful organization. Shout out to my friends in Peel. But, it's not Toronto.
Right.
I did take the drive to go to his graduation. It was quite nice.
Good for you.
Yeah, it was good. It was good times. Good times. Okay, let's see here. Factory exhaust is on the vehicle. Is that where's my mouse? Hello, mouse. I've lost my mouse.
Are you on the page?
I don't know. It's gone. I don't even know where it went. This is is my battery dead? Oh, there's a stop button on my mouse. There it is. Okay. Who puts a pause button on a mouse? Okay. Yeah, she presses this button, it lights up, and then, oh no, what the heck is this doing? I have no idea. All right.
Don't squirrel.
If a factory exhaust is on the vehicle, is that a ticket for unnecessary noise ticket? Is that a ticket for? If
It could be.
Unnecessary noise doesn't have to be a modified exhaust. It can be a stock exhaust, and the noise could be because of, I don't know, behavior. You're revving it up. Could be your stereo too loud. You're honking your horn for no reason. Unnecessary noise is for unnecessary noise.
If you're sitting at a stoplight somewhere and just revving and revving and revving and revving your engine, is that loud? Yep.
Is it unnecessary?
Yep.
There you go. So yes, it could be stock. And I always say, Honda Civic, egg beater, doesn't make any noise at all. You rev it up to red line, it's going to be noisier than it should be, and it has nothing to do with driving safely. So there you go. Is it okay to talk and text with Apple CarPlay? I do it every day. I hope it's legal. No, if you're not touching your phone and you press or just say, hey, and I won't say it to trigger everybody's phone right now, but if you say, hey,
Whatever platform you're using.
yeah, because it could be Google, it could be Siri, it could be whatever, then that's not illegal. There's no charge for it. However, you must acknowledge that it is a distraction. Just because you're not touching anything, your thoughts are now focused on something other than. You're not necessarily focusing on the car ahead of you. You're waiting for them to respond with the text, and then when it comes back and it's gobbledygook and they've misunderstood you and you get all frustrated, these are all things that are taking away from your ability to focus on your driving. Is it illegal? No. Could it result in a collision? Yes. So
I quite recently just changed the infotainment system on my motorcycle so that I have one of these platforms that I can use while on the motorcycle.
I think they're fantastic. I use them all the time. I have it construct emails to myself as reminders because I say, email my work account, and I have a list of things to do. And it's, usually it's when I'm at a stop, but I have used it to say, hey, call home. It's great technology. And for anyone to be touching their phone now, there is really no excuse. No excuse at all. Just saying. Now I'm going to scroll back because a ton of new messages came in. This is great, and everything's been working. Do you know? I think I figured out how to make sure.
Don't say it.
No?
Don't say it.
Don't say it.
Don't
Because I'll break it.
Don't jinx it.
Let's see here. John frankly says, wouldn't it be more dangerous for cyclists to go on the instead of on the sidewalk and past people that are walking? Like, I understand if you're in a big group of cyclists, but it's just one person. I think personally it would be safer on the sidewalk.
Would it be safer for the cyclist?
We've acknowledged that.
Maybe. So they collide into somebody and wipe out.
Or a pole.
We have had cyclists in the city of Toronto that have struck pedestrians and killed them. So is it safer? It depends. Are you willing to give up one person for another person? You can't. So the province and the city has come up with a plan that has kind of guided the best for everybody.
Yes. Why is Eglinton Avenue transit line taking so long? If we had answers for that, we'd probably be able to cure everything. It's one of those things I just can't explain.
Because it's government.
This table is beautiful. Do you know how long it took to get? I think we're a year and a half, almost 2 years to get this table. We knew we wanted it. We asked for it. Things just take a long time to get approvals. And thank you very much for the folks who got this and made it happen. It's not a slight to them, but it's red tape, getting approvals up the chain. Everyone has to approve things because spending money is more difficult when you're a government agency than when you're just taking it and putting it on your personal credit card. But I can't wait to get this going because this is going to change the face. We're upscaling. Are we upscaling? No, we're bringing it to the next level. We're improving the production quality of the show. Yay. Okay, let's see here. Someone is talking about stuff and things here. What are we doing that? Interesting. Toronto police are glorified security guards, enforcement only when they want. No. Your comment suggests you don't understand how things work. And I appreciate that everyone has different opinions based on their personal experiences, and yours might have biased you to this opinion. But the Toronto police respond to emergencies. And we also do proactive policing. But proactive policing means there has to be space for us to do that. We have to have time available. So what we've seen in recent years, we're so busy doing the stuff that must be done, that we get less time to do the proactive stuff. And that's why they've created special units to focus on proactive policing. In traffic, it's the Vision Zero enforcement team that do nothing but enforcement activity. But there are neighborhood officers that work on all that one-on-one. There's really great efforts to improve things. But at the end of the day, you know what the problem with what is restricting us from proactive policing? It's crime. Crime and people doing bad things, I'll put it under the umbrella, that take up all of our time. We go call to call to call to call. People are exhausted. And they're doing it to make it safer for you, to help you. But comments like this, well, frankly, piss me off, because I don't think they come from an understanding at all of what we do.
It's amazing. Talking traffic specifically, do you know how long it takes me to investigate a death on our roadways? To gather all the information to hold the person responsible accountable and put them before the court. It takes an awful lot of personnel power. It takes an awful lot of time to be able to do it because of the actions of one driver or one pedestrian or one cyclist. And that's where our time goes. If you want us to investigate something, gather all the evidence when it's fresh and it's still there, and you want us to hold people accountable, it takes more time now. If everybody would stop driving so badly,
right,
I would have more time to catch the speeders.
Well, here's a person, actually same person. Is it the same person? Maybe a different person. I waited 9 hours for cops to show up after I was hit by a car. It happens.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
But that's the way it is now. Because you expect us to be everywhere all the time, doing everything. We get there when we can.
And we do have to prioritize things. Someone who's being attacked by an armed individual takes a higher priority than someone who is waiting because there's a scratch on their car or, and I don't know your situation, so I'm not trying to downplay it, but there has to be a priority system. It's not first come, first serve. We have to, just like an emergency room, a trauma center has to determine who gets what priority. We do the same thing.
We have to triage, and it's done through our communication center when the calls come in. They're all prioritized, given a number, and the most important ones get seen to first.
Now, Matt wants to know if it's true that if a person in front of you is doing the same speed as you, that the cop has to pull the first person over.
Nope.
No. It's if you're both doing it, you're both eligible. Whoever it gets pulled over, it could be the winner. It's just, it could be your lucky day.
Depending on the radar or laser used, we get to see everybody's speed, not just the person in the front. So we have the technologies, we're using them.
Okay. Jennifer, what is this? Is it true that those coming into the country are able to get their driver's licenses transferred? Different countries have different laws and different ways of driving. How can that be? So the answer is it depends. In fact, if you go to TrafficCop.ca, you can look at a document that tells you which countries we do have a reciprocal agreement with or that we do offer straight changes. Like the United States, they have slightly different laws, but they're similar enough that they allow exchanges. The UK, again, similar laws, different side of the road, but otherwise the same thing. We're allowed to drive when we're visiting there. They're allowed to drive when they're visiting here. And a straight exchange makes a lot of sense. Big cities, big infrastructure. But if you're coming from a place that has very little infrastructure and dirt roads and less laws and enforcement, they will likely not be getting a straight exchange. Some places get that straight exchange, and there's few of those. Some of them give an accelerated program. So you've got 15 years of driving, but you're in an environment that's different. They're going to make you take the G2 test and the G test, but you don't have to wait the time in between. So there's different paths for different drivers from different places, and it all depends. So TrafficCop.ca, if you go to the useful links at the bottom, you can actually read all about it, because I put links about stuff and things there.
And when you explain it that way, it's common sense. It makes sense that way because we want the safest drivers out there. But we want you to be able to, if you have experience and you are a safe driver, we want you to be able to transition over very quickly. I've traveled over to Europe. I traveled over to Great Britain and showed my Ontario driver's license and jumped into a car, and they trust me to drive.
Why?
It's tough. It really is.
I drove in Australia. It was very different.
Yep. It's tough. But I was able to do it.
Jerry Joe says, it is a pain to drive on the Gardner now. Is this really going to be like this for 3 years? You're
not the only one thinking that. We are downtown. We have to get our police cars out of here. And sometimes take the highway to get to Scarborough, get to Etobicoke. It is affecting everybody all the time. And just think There's talk about taking the garden completely down.
Yeah. Things I won't talk about because I don't
Get frustrated?
I can't.
Yeah.
Can't. Kyle Hawking, our buddy from who might be in a helicopter right now, literally. He says, "Good morning, guys. Not specifically a question on the law, but I'm interested to get your thoughts on a congestion charge for driving downtown to reduce gridlock." I'm not sure I'm picking up what you're putting down. Like, should there be a charge, or the charge for blocking the box?
No, congestion charge, I would imagine, just like the City of London has done, that you have to pay a toll to get in.
A fine, or a fee for coming to the city.
I, as a driver in the city, I don't really want it, but I think it actually would help.
How many times when you're on the highway do you look inside and see one person in a vehicle?
Yep.
Most of the time, which is one of the reasons we try and promote carpooling and the HOV lanes and all those things are there to promote fewer cars in the core.
And you have a look around, and within the Greater Toronto area, we have two major highways that run east-west, Highway 407 and Highway 401. 407 is a toll road, privately owned, costs you money to use it, sort of like a road tax on top of all the other road taxes we pay. You have to make a decision. Do you want to actually get there on time? You pay extra. Do you want to actually, are you willing to sit in traffic? So that's the decision that people are going to have to make coming into the city. If there's a congestion toll charge, do I want to or do I not want to? Do I pay the fee? Do I not pay the fee?
If I could get to work faster, would I pay? I think I would pay. I just had the epiphany of I spend way too much time in traffic. So if I could cut that in half by paying for it, I'd be broke.
On the other hand, I have such a problem paying for the 407, paying extra over on top for a highway that was built by the government of Ontario that is now owned by somebody else.
It's another conversation.
Yeah.
The Grinch says, good morning to you. And Akela Draconis is here. He says, our congestion management charge is not a toll. Sorry, our congestion management charge? It is a fee that will be applied to those who are blocking our roads with construction. Okay. So we went on a tangent. See, when we don't know stuff, we need stuff explained to us. And I appreciate you, Akela, who happens to work in traffic management, so he knows things and shares things with us. See, we don't know everything. We're open to being, explained.
So it's a fee to companies that are blocking roadways to build and make money off of whatever
Do they send me the money for being inconvenienced? Because that would be okay. Do they subsidize my gas? Anyway, I'm going to... let's see here. Fly Guy Canada... Did I see your last video? No, but now I want to. I'll check it out after the live stream. And the Grinch is on a staycation. Okay, cool, very cool. Staycation sounds good. The Benjamin says I moved far away from the GTA so I don't have to sit in dumb traffic. That is my retirement dream, to not have to drive in traffic anymore. 8 years.
I agree.
Let's see here. Can you give some tips on defensive driving? Leave yourself room. Have an escape plan. Don't speed. Stay to the right when you're not passing. What else?
Biggest thing is leave yourself enough time when you leave the house.
Yes.
Add extra time in there for the unknowns, and you won't be in a rush to get there. Defensively driving, though, I ride a motorcycle. I ride super defensively because if somebody does something wrong around me, I have to pay for the price because I'm the one that's getting hurt. If you take that whole idea of it and apply it to your car, which I do as well.
But a mindset. If your mindset is slow and steady wins the race, you're going to get there in one piece, not get there first, then you're already ahead of the game. And then ignore everything else in your car. Don't play, set your radio before you get on the road. If you're going to order pizza, not while you're driving, you're parked legally. Like anything you're doing with your phone or other than driving when you're in the car with the intention to move and on a road, be in the moment and be present to what you're doing. Pay attention to your mirrors. Do all the things you're supposed to be doing, and you're already in a better place than half the drivers on the road. So There you go. Does the TPS require an OACP certificate still to apply? I recently, the OPP have dropped it. I think we still do. I don't know. Best people to talk to are the recruiters at TPS.ca.
I was about to say that.
See?
TPS.ca would probably have the latest information right there.
And they're standing by, waiting to help you. We got
Act now.
Act now. Why wait? Kyle Hawking says, I was referring to a toll to drive into the downtown core. Murray got it. It's also coming to New York City. So you were right. Sorry, Akela.
Doesn't happen very often,
That's still, I still like learning about the other concepts. So I think that the current system, if that is a current system, is charging those who mess up infrastructure. That makes sense. Except I want to know where the money goes. But in terms of a toll to drive into the down core, how do you even stop them? Like, is it a gate you don't get in without paying? Because how else do you alleviate people just drive and wait for the bill in the mail?
We use automated type stuff that gets your license plate and sends you a bill.
I have such mixed emotions about it. I mean, I'd love to drive in a city with fewer cars, but I still want to drive. So I'm willing to pay for that privilege. I already pay stupid money to drive a vehicle. And that might be the issue with everybody. Everyone will do it because many people have no interest in public transit. But you look at Japan, where public transit is so acceptable and so accessible and so efficient and cheap. My friend just is in Japan right now and getting like play-by-plays about how easy it is to get around. Not to mention clean and safe and all that jazz. So I want to go to Japan now. That's the next trip. Okay. Two-part question. Part 1 of 2. Not from Toronto, from a rural town. Got stuck turning left at a Jays game last year. Well, half in the intersection because people walked into the intersection, was surrounded, and I'm embarrassed. So you got a ticket for failing to clear the intersection. What was the charge? Because just on
did they get a ticket?
They got a ticket. Got stuck.
No, just got stuck.
Oh, I thought a ticket. See, I was reading
Does
something.
it say anywhere where it says ticket?
I make it up. No. So I inferred. So you just got stuck there and it was embarrassing.
Because the pedestrians, as soon as they saw the light, they didn't look around and see you making a left turn, and they said, I'm going anyways because I don't really care.
But that's
I
everywhere.
have places to be. And
Entitlement's a big problem with our traffic congestion. It really is such a problem. If people just had the courtesy to see what's going on, we'd all get where we have to go faster.
Right. So technically, lawfully, anybody in the intersection lawfully there first, when they entered it on a green light, would have the priority to be able to clear it. Mm-hmm. Technically.
You can charge pedestrians.
You can charge pedestrians. But does that happen? No, because we're not everywhere because they want us to
respond to everything else.
Speeders and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And can you run over a pedestrian because they've seen the green light and they're starting to
There's
walk?
rules about that.
Yeah.
Not everybody likes
I get
it.
it.
They're there.
I get it. You know what? The city is a tough place to
navigate
because everybody needs to be somewhere all the time right now.
There's a lot of dangerous drivers of e-bikes delivering food. Can we report them? So there's no license plate. There's no real way to phone in from guy wearing black backpack holding a Foodora bag or whatever they call that company.
A fedora?
It's a Foodora bag. I've seen it. It came to mind. Whatever the companies are. And there's a major problem in the city. And divisions like 52 Division have been working projects for both education and enforcement. They start with education, then they lead to enforcement. But there's lots of people jumping up on the curbs, riding down to get to the store. The last, from the curb, they don't want to stop and lift their bike up. Whatever the case is, they're putting pedestrians at risk. And you're absolutely right. There's a lot of them, e-bike and regular bike. And you can report the issue, but there's no way to report them.
Unless you know who they are.
So if you order from them and they deliver it and they go, then you can report them.
On that note, I have to run.
And I'm going to finish up because we're almost at the end, and then I will be following suit and also running.
All right. Chat later, everyone.
He's going. Just smack the microphone. Sorry. I didn't see any dad jokes. Nobody had any dad jokes? Is this your pen too? It's been here. I think this is yours. No? Somebody else delivered a pen here. Let's see. What about all these aggressive men drivers, especially towards women? I have to think about that. I've got to tell you, there's bad drivers on all sides. I don't think it's fair to say men versus women. I think we have really bad drivers and we have really good drivers. Lately, I see more bad drivers. But what about them? I don't know what to tell you. I hate how people don't turn their lights on at night. Me too. It drives me crazy. Ghost cars, terrible. But this is one of those things where you got to make it a habit. These automated lighting systems have really thrown things upside down because no one pays attention anymore. They just assume that everyone's going to turn the lights on for them, not hit them when they walk in front of cars, things like that. If a cat is let outside and runs into the road and it causes an accident, is the cat owner liable? I've never run into this situation, so I don't want to give you an answer legally because I like a legal answer because I don't have one. You would think that would be the thing. But I remember very clearly in driving school, and I was told to hit the animal. Don't swerve, don't create a collision, hit the animal. It's cruel, it's so mean, it's terrible, I'd feel bad. But better the cat's life than to cause a collision and put others at risk. And that's the answer that I would go with. It shouldn't cause a collision, it should get run over. And it sounds so insensitive to say, but if you have to change channels and decide, you're either going to hit the fluffy thing that you probably didn't even notice, it just, it's a thud, versus seeing that thing sliding over and, hitting a person on the sidewalk, the cat's going to eat it. Okay, let's see here. Did you hear the news about apparently that was a joke. What is a technique a motorcyclist can do to make themselves more noticeable? Bright colored clothing, excellent lighting system. Ensure that most motorcycles have them. I've seen helmets that have built-in reflective quality or lighting, but being seen is the biggest thing, and not driving in a manner that has the motorcycle appearing out of nowhere. This is a message that came, I think I missed earlier, but Dre, what's going on? He says, wow, it's the guy from TikTok. I'm a big fan. Good morning. I know Dre. And I've got to reach out to your friend. I still haven't had a chance to reach out to your friend. We're planning a race day. Now, Dre works with racers, but specifically our friends at Tooth Racing. And I've been talking about this is probably 2 years now, talking about doing a go-kart challenge, police officers against professional racers and some other friends. And Dre and I are working on that together. We're working on a plan. Okay, what is this? Why don't Canada model U.S. cities for traffic layout logistics? I don't know. I'm not part of that. Do you give tickets to pedestrians who start crossing when the countdown timer is almost down to zero? We should. I don't, because I'm not in enforcement anymore. But if someone is going out when the traffic signal says don't cross, and you cross, you violated the law, and you should be charged. And we have, I think, 700 plus tickets were issued, not necessarily for that particular version of the offense, but for offenses related to crossing against signals. Don't know what this is. Okay, scrolling through looking for good ones. Oh, do police officers acquire their our PAL firearms license through their training? They don't have to. A police officer does not require a PAL or restricted PAL in order to carry a firearm at work. Because we're police officers, we have certain exemptions, and we don't own the firearms, which is what a restricted PAL is for, or a PAL is for, possession acquisition license. We are possessing it, but we're possessing it as a police officer, so it's different. And the guns are all under the registration of the police service. They're not ours. But you look at border services, they all have their restricted PALs and carry based on that, those who are issued firearms. So very interesting. And I don't know enough about it to really go deeper than that. Let's see here. Oh. If I'm not touching my phone, but it's sitting on my lap, and police sees it, is that a charge? Yes, you're using their phone. It sounds crazy, but if it's on your lap and it slides off, you're going to be grabbing it. How did it get on your lap? You've touched it. You're using it. It suggests you're actively using it. The courts have upheld that you can be charged and convicted for cell phone or handheld communication device. Word stuck on tongue. Okay, good. We've got ASKaTrafficCop who always delivers with dad jokes and quotes, and then we got to people you see in hell is really getting mouthy with all this stuff. You don't have to. We're not talking about this. That's this subject that he wants to talk about court dealing with the death of a police officer. Not a topic for this channel. Simple as that. Not going there. Regardless of the intent, you've been here a lot. Usually, you're polite when you're here. You may not always agree with everything on the show, but I'm not going to start talking about that stuff. So here we have a quote from Michaela. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the results of 100 battles. Sun Tzu. I've been saying I'm going to reread The Art of War, and I really must. I really must. Okay, and I've got a dad joke in a second, but I'm scrolling for maybe one more. Let's see here. What's the law for bike on the roads? Follow the rules of the road. It's a vehicle. What's this? Aaron says, I've never been stopped by the cops. Excellent. Brando. What's going on, Brando? Okay. A glasses ticket, even though I had my glasses beside me. If you are required to drive with glasses on your face, wear them while you're driving, then yes, you would be eligible for a ticket if you were not wearing them while you were driving. It's a requirement of your license to wear them. Having them beside you does not qualify as wearing them. They do not improve your vision whilst on the seat. Radek says, good morning to you, and let's do that joke. Boom, boom, boom. Did I have anything else flagged? We talked about that. All right, dad joke. My son likes elevators. My son likes elevators. My daughter likes escalators. They were raised differently. I was not expecting that. But then again, it's a dad joke. What was I expecting? Who knows? That's it, folks. If you like this sort of stuff, then you should come back tomorrow because we're going to do it all again at 10 a.m. And we're going to do it from our nice new table. At least that's the plan. Hopefully I can get all the technology moved over and then we'll do it there. We'll see how it works, but that's the goal. Tomorrow, we'll be here soon. So from now till then, drive safely, drive sober, and of course, smile because it looks good on you. Here's the traffic song to take you to the next place. Enjoy. Have a great day.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed. And watch your driving, don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed because you might go to jail and not get freed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
Oh, we've got a question. We got the request from, let's see here. We got 021M who says, just one more. So I asked, what is the one more? The one more is, can you get a ticket for tinted taillights? And the answer is yes, you can. It is not legal because they must meet a requirement under the HTA for being clearly or easily discernible at 150 meters. When you tint them, they don't. Now, Stevie, who came in earlier, the car guy with the McLaren, says, well, why don't you just get brighter bulbs? Those things are maybes. They're maybes. It depends. And it's safer not to. You could make yourself eligible for a ticket. And since I caught the question before stopping my talking, why do cops love to park in the bike lane? Spenny Thompson wants to know. because sometimes we got to go places and we park where we have to in emergent situations. Now, people say, well, what about going to places that aren't emergent? Guess what? Wherever we are, we might be called away to an emergent situation. We need to keep our vehicles accessible. Is it ideal to be in a bike lane? No. Does it make sense that bike lanes are going to be used when we have to go somewhere? Yeah. So do we love to do it? No. We park wherever we have to. Sometimes it's a sidewalk. Sometimes it's a driveway. Sometimes it's the middle of the road. We're actually allowed to do a whole lot of things that you're not allowed to do. So there's that. I did also totally ignore Instagram. And one day Instagram will actually be integrated with Restream, which I use. The best experience is going to be anything other than Instagram, which I have a really hate relationship with Instagram. I mean, I appreciate everyone who comes in through there, but in terms of platform, I don't get it. So, Goach wants to know, why can't the city design a better traffic light system to get people in and out of the city, such as Yonge Street being a one-way in the morning up until 11 a.m.? That sounds horrible in terms of confusing people. We are a huge city with tremendous tourism. I can't see that being a good idea, but I don't know. People will do what they do in terms of planning, and maybe at Kayla, we can talk about that another day and make it a topic for a show. And DJing says, you didn't look at our questions on Instagram. That was the only question. I don't see any other. I'm scrolling back. Maybe there was one. Oh, there was some more. Anyway, I did miss a bunch. My apologies. Unintentional, but things just kept going. And Instagram's on a separate screen way over there. So let's see here. Really long nickname says, we want the heavy metal version as the regular version on the closing song. And apparently they speak for everyone. So, we're certainly going to continue to rotate them. I think we should try a country version, a folk version. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And then Clarissa says, good morning, Sean. Good morning to you. That actually wasn't the question I was going to jump on, but I do appreciate the good morning. Swervo says, what's your opinion on tint? I understand its benefits of reducing solar load, but when it comes to being too dark to provide privacy, I have an issue with it. We need to be able to see in, you need to be able to see out, and it's generally considered unsafe, especially at night. But if it's beyond its legal limit, I would ticket for it. If it's legal, then it's fine. But there's a fine line between the two, and most tint I see is not legal. No one needs to be able to pick their nose in private. Either use a Kleenex or get over it and let people see what you're doing. Everyone can dig for gold. And DJ Karos has a serious question. And go for it, since I've completely gone off my rail of leaving. But this is going to be the last question because I have to go. And just another Chag Sameach to all those who are celebrating. Happy Passover to those who are observing. And I get to go and be with family tonight. I'm looking forward to it. All right, that DJ has not come back with an answer to a question. I don't see it. Do I? Oh, no, I'm looking. There it is. Oh, so they said, I unfortunately got a DUI, first charge ever on a G2. Well, DUI is a drive under the influence charge. Doesn't matter what license you had. It's going to be an impaired driving is a criminal charge. But I don't know what the question is here. I'm sorry to hear that you are dealing with that, but I'm glad they caught you to change the behavior, because obviously you were doing something you weren't supposed to do. In terms of what you're looking at on a conviction, there's pretty hefty consequences. It's a criminal charge. There's fines. Going into detail with that, I would suggest you talk to counsel. You probably do already have or need to find legal counsel on that. So that would be the best course of action, because as you came in as the last question, I wasn't expecting one that would have a long and drawn-out answer. So come back tomorrow if we want to talk about it again, but I am going to say goodbye for now. And again, is there a possibility bringing it to careless? It does happen. But again, talk to your lawyer. That's the way to go. I am saying goodbye. Even though I see this question, my 82-year-old mom's license is expired over a year and refuses to go to the DMV. Tell her to stop driving. And if you have to, maybe convince her that she shouldn't be driving anymore. If she can't go to the DMV, she probably shouldn't be doing what she's doing. All right. We're out of here.